so sad, so unhappy, so unfulfilled, so inauthentic. And, like in terms of choice, decision, there was a pain and a pleasure. And the pain was living in a body that I didn't feel was mine. And it was not until my late 40s or so that I started to think, I should have been born a girl. And that was like the start of a period of questioning and little changes. I didn't know where that journey was going to take me.
Right.
And in fact, that journey took me to a dream come true.
I'm thrilled to be here with you today and genuinely appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us. Each episode is designed to inspire and motivate you to step boldly into your own journey, embracing the challenges and triumphs that will come with living authentically. Now, imagine navigating a vast ocean. Just as a skilled sailor must harness the winds and currents to reach their destination, we too must embrace our personal power and emotional vulnerability to navigate the sometimes turbulent waters of life. Today, we're going to explore the significance of these concepts, particularly through the lens of gender transition and the mindset shifts that accompany it. Our guest today is Bobbi Barrington, and she believes that making mistakes and experiencing the messiness of life is not just inevitable, but essential for personal growth. Bobbi is an inspiring trans woman, professional speaker, and coach currently residing in Queensland, Australia. With her rich experiences in both genders, she brings a unique perspective on courage and the importance of breaking free from the societal norms that exist, as well as those beliefs that associate with them and that oftentimes confine us. Bobbi's journey of transformation serves as a powerful reminder that it's never too late to embrace who you truly are. So now that we've got you all set, let's turn to our conversation with Bobbi. Enjoy. Hey, Bobbi, thank you for joining me here today on the Audacious Living Podcast. It is an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast today. So thank you for taking the time to do this.
Hey, Audley, it's a delight. I'm so glad to be here.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, same as well. I oftentimes talk about how much I consider it a blessing to engage in conversations that potentially can have an impact on people's lives and just by other individuals eavesdropping into our conversation they can take from them and make themselves put them a higher trajectories. It's a wonderful thing, and so it's a blessing to be a part of this. So thank you for allowing me to do that as well. I mean I could be talking myself, but it's more enriching to have someone like yourself joining me. So I appreciate this.
Well, let's go for it.
So, much time on this podcast is really spent encouraging individuals to kind of to live that best audacious life that we talk about. And the journey of our life, it is very much a journey. We're on a path that's very individualized that belong to us. And what I like about that very much so is it's ours, right? And so what Audley does for himself is Audley's journey. What Bobbi does for herself is on Bobbi's journey. And are there things that maybe we can take from one another or learn from each other to better ourselves? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, everything about our path belongs to us, and that's the beauty of life, if you will. It's so individualized and unique. A lot of your work is really around encouraging people to sort of make positive transformation. So there's times when there are adjustments or pivots or changes that have to be made, and this again a lot of your work that you do, and you do so encouraging people to understand it can happen at any point in their lives, regardless of their age. And so I think it really is a beautiful message that you have, and so maybe as a starting point, I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to our audience, talk about the work that you've done, and really what's got you to the point that you're at now.
Oh, thank you for that. So my name is Bobbi, Bobbi, that Bobbi Barrington. I'm in Australia. I'm in Queensland. I'm on the Sunshine Coast, which is just north of Brisbane now, and I've just moved here. Well, I moved to Brisbane just a couple of years ago, and I've gradually been finding a place in the world that I love. And like, there's only two places on the planet at the moment that I feel drawn to. One is here, and one is France. So I'm very French, and I'm a French speaker also. But this is a lot easier for me to get to at the moment, and with where my life's up to, this is appropriate for me because there is a beautiful community here, a beautiful welcome, and I have a coach who's in the vicinity, and just out that way, about 200 meters, is the ocean.
Oh, wow.
That's just wonderful.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
And I love that. I love the sea, and I love the energy of the sea. Yeah. But just 2 years ago, I moved from Adelaide in South Australia to Brisbane, and I moved for several reasons. I moved over there for energy, a bigger city, a bigger opportunity, more happening. Like, we've got the Olympics coming up here in 2032, so that's 7 years away. So there's a lot happening. This is a really, really a happening part of the world. So I came for that. I came because I was building a new business, like wholly shifting my whole life, pivoting to a new profession, which I will explain in a moment. I came for the community of people that I'd started to meet and be welcomed into. And to be honest, I came to be warmer as well, because I do not do cold. And it's a warmer part of the world. Yeah.
Sure.
But so I packed a van and I drove 2,000 kilometers over 3 days and started a new life in a new city and in a new body. And everything is new for me because I am a trans woman also. And I talk about transformation, change, transition. And I really say that I've had two transitions. One is my gender and one is my mindset. And the gender, I have to say, Audley, has been the easiest. The easiest part of that is changing my body, changing my whole physical identity, stepping into my new identity as a woman. But that's where I've arrived, and I am absolutely over the moon delighted with who I am and who I've become and how I show up in the world now. But the mindset shifts have been the hardest of all, and shifting the thoughts and habits and beliefs because I'm 65 now, and shifting 60 plus years of cognitive thinking and neurological pathways and thoughts that went down the same, like channels in my brain. That has been the effort. That has been the hardest thing, really, in shifting all of that. And so I've started a new life in my mid-60s.
Okay.
And I really feel that I'm a personification of possibility. I live possibility. I live my message of creating our own destiny and being able to do so at any point in time. Because it was a decision. It was really a decision. It was me wanting it, committing to it, being 100% responsible for myself and my life, and doing the work. And I spent so much of my life, I've heard about what doing the work meant.
Right.
But now I know what doing the work means because I'm in it every day, like working on my personal power, on my emotional intelligence, in how I show up in the world, in the choices I make, the the smile or not that I put on my face, the meaning I give to things that happen.
Mhm.
I've just come through some court cases, and I have lost such a lot of wealth through some court cases with a sister of mine who disputed an inheritance, and with an ex of mine who made a claim in the family courts. And I have lost such a lot of money.
Mhm.
And at 65, with no home at the moment
Right.
and little income at the moment, bouncing back from that, because I got to look at it like, where is the gift?
Mhm.
How can I use this to catapult myself into something bigger and better,
Right.
such that that loss is just a little road bump in my life? And I look back and I say, thank God that happened. Thank God that half a million, more than $500,000 Australian dollars, that I'm poorer now as a consequence. How can I make that a $500,000 lesson in growing me,
Right.
stepping into the world in my truest expression of me, and using it to help others? And so this is all the mindset sort of work that I do. So
Yeah.
so I'm a professional speaker now. I'm a coach. I'm a mentor. I'm about to start creating events for women. I want to
Mhm.
create an event called Breakout,
Okay.
and it's about breaking out of boxes.
Mm.
The boxes that we put ourselves in that we
Absolutely.
don't even see because
Yes.
we're like a fish in water. Break free, break free, break through, break out. And
Mm.
I
Love it.
kind of like the idea of having some sort of prison bars or something like that, and you smash your way through and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
a great metaphor. Yeah.
It
So
is. No, it is a good metaphor. It's awesome, and I love the story. Thank you for sharing. The story in itself is just so empowering in terms of just going through challenges and still having that excitement to still want to break out and come to the other side of this. And I love the question that you asked, like, what will I take from this, and where is the gift? And my immediate thought goes to, the gift is the journey, the gift is the process, the gift is becoming, being, because it's through that point where you learn the greatest lessons. And I remember once I was talking to a professional mountain climber, and one of the things he said is, getting to the top of the mountain is overrated. There's not a whole lot up there. It's just, the summit is very quiet and but it's that journey on the way up to the top, the overcoming the obstacles and the resilience, and getting to the other side is what really, really matters. And I certainly hear that as you share your story.
yeah, we're all mountain climbers, aren't we? Like what choice do we have? Do we want to stay on base camp? Do
Mm,
we want to stay back home? I don't.
right.
I recently did an exercise, like, what is my why? What is my big why?
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, my why has been about other people, about elevating other people, about helping people unlock the best that's in them, and the bits that we kept trapped inside because of our
Right.
conditioning and our belief systems and in the stories that we tell ourselves. But I looked at it in the sense of, what is the why for me? What do I want for me? And my why is that I want to be like the best I can be, and I want to find out who I can be, what is possible for Bobbi while she's on this planet. And that wanting to find out is much stronger than my fear of doing the work. And when I find, and well, not when, as I find my why, I want to pull other people up with me, because I hate waste. I
Mm,
hate waste of any description, and wasted lives the most of all. And I'm not here to judge anybody about what they do with their life. But if people come to me and say, I want more, but I don't know how, then I'm interested. I want more, but I'm stuck, then I'm interested. Because then it's like mindset shifts.
Sure. Sure.
It's shifting the belief system around, I don't know how. I don't know the path. I'm too frightened to step into the without being able to see, without being able to see the way. I'm frightened about who I might become and what does that mean in the world. Those things that get in people's way because we're human and we have emotions and
Sure.
we have anxieties and we fear being accepted and we fear failing and we fear being good enough and all of those things. And me as much as anyone. And I'm frightened a lot,
Sure.
and I feel that I've spent my life in fright and
Gotcha.
I'm still frightened. But what I was doing when I was traveling around the country as a single woman
Hmm.
in my van, going from place to place and speaking, was
Yes.
building the muscle of going into the difficult situation and building the evidence that I could do that and land on my feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so the building has been self-trust, my ability to trust in myself and know that I'm always going to be okay.
Yeah. No, it's powerful. Bobby, that
And
is so, so powerful. Like to have
and
that self-talk that you've described is so, so powerful. I love the fact that you talk about building the evidence. I oftentimes I encourage individuals to do something called celebrate your wins, right? And so you do something right now and it's like, okay, I'm not sure, but you try it anyways, and maybe you overcame it, maybe you didn't. But if you overcame it, man, what that does, it gives you, as you said, the evidence to say, I can do this. And so the next time you run into this adversity again, it's like, yeah, this looks familiar. And you know what? The last time I did this, I took this pathway, it didn't work out. Let me do this one instead, right? And now, and that's why I'm such a big fan of try. I love the word try. I love the word try because it provides you the opportunity to go into something you've never done before. And we oftentimes forget, Bobby, that when we're doing something for the very, very first time, we're probably going to suck at it because we've never done it before. Like there's no evidence to say we're going to be successful. So we may suck. We may get off, it might be just the exact opposite, but chances are, we're not going to do very well. And that's okay because it gives us the opportunity to learn, to develop, to figure it out, to do better next time. And I'm hearing that. And so when we talk about celebrating the wins, it's exactly that. So when you come again the second time, I did this, I'll do it again, let's go kind of thing.
oh, totally. Like I mean, you've probably heard people speak of, when little kids start learning to walk and they fall down and you don't give up on them because, oh, he's not a walker, he'll never walk. So he tried once and didn't work. So, but then we sort of grow up a bit and we can be so hard on ourselves. We can beat ourselves up for not getting it right the first time. And, mastery comes through doing the work, building the muscle, and over again. Like people ask me, like, what's your secret? And I say, there is no secret.
Right.
It's just following certain strategies. And the simplest strategy is 2 steps. Start, don't stop. That can get you a long way.
Mm,
But it's also, like reframing stuff, like
yep.
like failure to feedback and the courage to keep doing things, keep stepping forward when you can't see it. And like I have big visions. I am so ambitious with my
Hmm.
visions, but I don't know the how. I don't know the way. I don't know the path. Like through my life, because of my childhood and what happened as a kid and my alcoholic father and a emotionally unsafe household that I grew up with, and it affected me through my whole life and,
Hmm.
and affected me with my I am statements, I am an
Yes,
introvert.
yes, yes,
I
yes.
am I am not a happy person. Like I feared standing out and attracting attention to keep myself safe and those sorts of things. And now I'm 6 foot tall. I've got purple hair. I wear heels and go clippity clop around the place, stand on stages, and God, I'm online, I'm in the media, and I am pitching to national media and
Right.
all sorts of things, So this was the work, like shifting those
Not
I
bad for
am
an intro. Not bad
statements.
for an introvert, right? Not bad.
Well, I'm not. That was conditioned.
Right.
I'm not. I
Right.
did I did the Myers-Briggs thingy,
Yes.
and turns out I'm 93% extrovert.
I love it. I love it.
Who else has got a number?
Yeah, yeah, and I love, but this again, those stories that we tell ourselves, right, are so powerful. Um,
Yeah.
I,
And we
I,
believe them.
Yeah, and we do, right? We believe them, we live to them, we tell other
Mm,
people that, we think them, like, and that just
mm,
becomes our way of life. And so it's very, very, very
mm,
important. I want to go back because you had to make some pretty significant decisions and choices in your life. You certainly your gender being one of them, but to relocate and start to travel. There's a lots of things that major decisions that you had to make. I'm curious about sort of that decision making process and what goes into triggering that desire to reinvent your life.
I don't really feel that I had a choice.
Mm,
Of course I had choices, like in, ter- in terms of my transition, like my changing gender. Like I think the choice was to do that
mhm.
or to be not here anymore. It was so sad, so unhappy, so unfulfilled, so inauthentic. And, like in terms of choice, decision, there was a pain and a pleasure. And the pain was living in a body that I didn't feel was mine. And it was not until my late 40s or so that I started to think I should have been born a girl.
Mm,
And that was like the start of a period of questioning and little changes. I didn't know where that journey was going to take me.
right.
And in fact, that journey took me to a dream come true. And to now live in a body that I love, in a skin that I feel comfortable in, and I look in the mirror and I am delighted with what I see in the mirror now. And I even started modeling last year. Like what? My God, so this is the gender bit of me.
Yes.
But the other part of me that was living 60 years feeling frightened in a scarcity mindset with this crappy money mindset in a marriage that, to be honest, there wasn't much love in there. And so now I've got like 3 children who don't talk to me and they haven't been in touch with me for 4 years now. And I haven't seen them for 6 years. And not for me reaching out, but this is like the truth of this. But this is a pain and a pleasure thing also, because the pain of living that life when my boy was 4 and I felt I couldn't buy him a toy, when I was so triggered by money that I found it difficult just walking past my bank. When I was feeling that I was unsuccessful and failing and just trying to do more stuff and not being able to solve the problem that I had with the strategies that I knew. So that fear, but there was a pleasure as well. There is more for me. There is a bigger future. There is something important I'm meant to be here doing. And that was always there for me, always pulling me forward. But I didn't know what it was.
Mm.
I looked everywhere. I looked for my passion. It
Right,
wasn't
right,
it wasn't behind the fridge at all. It wasn't caught it wasn't in the, cushions of the sofa.
right, right.
It was in here,
Yeah,
but it took, you know, it took like a breakthrough with a new coach.
yeah, yeah.
And I've got to say that coaching has made it has made all the difference. But having said that, I was very coachable. I was very ready.
Hmm.
Had done the work and I continued to do the work. But we can't see what we can't see. And
Right,
having someone else hold the mirror up for me has made all the difference. And it has grown me so much
right,
so
right.
that now I am happy when I wasn't, fulfilled, and there's still more to do there, and so free. I have never been so free like this. As a single woman,
Right.
I have extraordinary freedoms, and I'm so fortunate. And I'm,
It's almost as you're talking, especially when you're talking about your fears. It's almost like you turn those into an opportunity to reinvent yourself. Like,
yeah,
and I want to go back to fear really quickly here because sometimes fear, it's a human emotion that sometimes gets villainized or demonized as a bad thing when really it's a feeling. It's what you do after the fear is what really you need to pay attention to. And so what I'm hearing, at least in your story, is that you didn't let it freeze you. It's like, okay, this fear is there. Yeah. And you said earlier, I've lived fear for my whole life, right? And it's not that again, it's not bad that you're having this fear. It's what you do with it. And that's what I'm hearing from your story.
well, for 60 years, I didn't know what to do with it. I
Hmm.
didn't.
Hmm.
And I was, in terms of flight, freeze, that nervous system regulation, like I didn't know. I thought emotions were things that happened to me and I had no power over them,
Hmm.
no control over them. And I'm not talking about the emotions of someone comes at me with a knife or something like that, and there will be a reaction. I'm talking about like the 99% of emotions, fears, anxieties, and all of the language that we use to define versions of that same thing
Right.
that we make up. And and it's a story, a fiction, but it's very real to us and to our nervous systems. And I, until quite recently, and I don't do it now, but I would be waking up in the morning, grinding my teeth,
Hmm.
literally shaking with fright, and it was all to do with money, finances, running out, scarcity, loss, not being worthy, not being good enough, not, failing to live the life that I felt that I was meant to live, all of that kind of stuff. And those fears were very real to me.
There's an aspect of your journey I think is very, very important to everyone, and that's the manner in which we live our lives and living from a place of truth. In fact, we have on this podcast something called the Bold Framework. And it's, the Bold Framework to help you live your best audacious life. And it's an acronym. B stands for better than yesterday. So it's about self-improvement and always getting better. Yes, you climb that. We talk about mountains. Yes, you climb that mountain yesterday, but there's a new one to climb today that you can go even higher. And so it's always encouraging that self-improvement. O stands for lasting adversity, which is really about, again, recognizing that troubles and challenges and obstacles are going to happen, but we build our resilience, we get stronger, we move past those things to can live that life that we want to live. The L, which is very much in line with what we're going to talk about, is live your truth, right? It's about authenticity and being the person you're meant to be. And I think for many individuals, they traverse through life and they don't make that change. And so being in a, whether it be in a relationship or in your case, being in a body, that's not who they fully are. And that process of living your truth, which I'm sure that you can speak to, can be very, very daunting, particularly since it's things that have been ingrained for a long period of time.
Totally. Live Your Truth is the title I've given to my speaker reel.
Okay.
It's exactly what it is. And just between you and me,
Well, I won't tell anyone. I won't tell anyone, just you and I.
I don't tell anyone. Um, it's going to be the title of my new book that I'm starting to write.
Yeah.
It's about authenticity, you know, like au- authenticity, but also the flip side of that is the cost of being inauthentic. And
Mm,
that was the life I lived. That life of conditioning, the worldviews I held, the beliefs I held, and like when I talk about introversion and extroversion, I I used to be so frightened. I used to be afraid of standing out. I remember even catching the tube in London because I lived in London for a long time.
mhm.
And even in my 40s, I was reluctant to stand up and open the vent because it would attract attention. I look, they're just stupid. And this is me as a 40-something-year-old professional man who was reluctant to do simple daily things in some ways. And that wasn't who I was supposed to be.
Right.
Like, what is the cost of him not expressing the fullness of his talents, of
Right.
his skills, of his passions, of his attributes because of a mindset? What is the cost to humanity of people living in that kind of place? And so many of us live, I don't know, half lives, less than
Hmm.
full lives,
Hmm.
some kind of settling because of conditioning, mindsets, stories that we've agreed with, beliefs that we've taken on that may or may not be ours. They might have come from society or the messages that we've seen in society or our parents or community or the 5 friends we hang out with the most.
Right.
Those people, are they ours? Are they our stories and beliefs, or have we inherited them?
Right.
And so a big part of this not emotional, this personal power journey is starting to question those things and
Hmm.
asking, are you sure? Are you really sure that that's yours? Or is it some kind of protection, some kind of staying safe, some kind of not wanting to stand out and be different? That's been massive for me,
Hmm.
the awareness. And when you start to become aware and aware that you are making choices, then you can choose which wolf to feed and
Right.
which wolf. This is big for me too, like the which wolf wins the fight, the one you
Yes.
feed. But you
Right.
can't feed a wolf, a different wolf, until you know there are two wolves.
Mm.
In fact, there's a whole friggin' wolf pack here, but and I was so when I would wake up in the morning shaking with fright, and then I started to realize actually this is a choice that I am making.
Yes.
And I can start to self soothe, make myself safe, calm that fight, flight, freeze brain that's going on in my head, and start to make more empowered choices about how I showed up, who I was going to be, focus on my vision, all of those sorts of things
Right.
to start shifting. So, and like that didn't mean that the fears didn't happen,
Right. Right. Right.
just meant that. I grew to be better able to process them and move through them quicker, and actually process them through my bodies. So when you get that fear and you feel it somewhere, mine, I might feel right behind my solar plexus here,
Okay.
and it's got a shape and it's got a size, and I can feel its
Hmm.
intensity.
Hmm.
And then I learnt that fear is like a dial on an old radio or something. You can turn the volume up really high till it's really, really painful.
Yes.
But you know what? You can turn it down so it's really, really low as well.
Right.
I'm
Right.
learning that kind of control over my emotions. It doesn't mean they're not there. It doesn't mean they've
No.
gone. It doesn't mean I'm not medicating them or drinking through cartons of wine or
Yep. Yep.
distracting myself with whatever. But they're emotions, and they're there to tell me something. And generally they're there to tell me that I've not attended to something,
Hmm.
that I've not been true to my word to myself, to my integrity, and there's something that I've neglected.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I haven't done what I promised myself.
And
Yeah,
that very
so
much ties back to, again, living your truth, and why that's so
yeah,
significant.
yeah.
Which I'm hearing loud and clear. I'm curious to get your perspective in what ways you've now lived in both genders, and I'm curious on, again, your perspective and kind of how that's shaped even your perspective on courage and stepping out and doing something different that you've never done before.
Oh my God, I do. My whole life is a life I've never lived before, and it's wonderful. It's the best life. And I'm very fortunate, actually, because I've landed in a world of women who are nurturing, welcoming, supporting, loving. And I hang out in communities of women who elevate each other, who believe in each other, who hold space for each other, allowing me to be vulnerable, messy, cry, emotional, without shame or judgment or anything. Like it's just. And I've been asked, like, what would you say to men and what would you say to women? And I think, and this is my experience, so it's not, I can't generalize for
Mhm.
everybody, and it's not the same for all men or the same for all women.
Mhm.
But I feel that I would say to men, or say to the version that I was previously, that I should be more emotionally vulnerable and allow my male friends to be more emotionally vulnerable as well. And I think there is such a lot of power in that. And like recently, I was pitching to mainstream media about gender violence,
Okay.
and because in Australia there's a big problem with gender violence here,
Okay.
and I felt that my perspective on gender violence, my perspective having lived as a man and lived as a woman, and
Mhm.
and the different traditions that I have of managing my emotions and my capacity to respond with grace and
Mhm.
curiosity rather than react with um, fear
Right.
or frustration or something like, and be able to. Oh, who was it who talks about? Was it Jung who was talking about that space between Im, impulse and reaction?
Okay.
Like there's a space. There's an impulse or an impetus. Something happens, and after that you react or respond, and in between there is a space to choose. How I feel that now that space is much bigger, and I have a lot more capacity to choose my response and control my emotional state in a way that I didn't used to.
Mm.
That I think is super powerful. And just to finish what I was saying, what would I say to women?
Mhm.
I think I would say, and it would have applied to me in my past life as well, I would have said to, we put ourselves in boxes a lot. We
Okay.
we we define ourselves in terms of the people around us, caring for others, being of service to others,
Hmm.
and not giving ourselves enough time, compassion, or even feel that we have permission to devote energy to ourselves. And the boxes that we put ourselves in, or the prisons, or whatever metaphor you
Yep.
want to
Yep.
call it,
Hmm.
like maybe we've created them, or maybe our society in some way has created them,
Right.
but we still agree with them.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and if you can't see that there is another alternative, then you can't choose another alternative. And that's my job as a speaker, as a coach, to help people see other possibilities and just to loosen the grip on a worldview that may not serve. Just open those fingers a little bit and say, are you sure that's the only way? Are
Right.
you really sure?
I love the way you put that. I love the way you put that. Like loosen that grip there, and it's a very fair question that we should be to ask yourself, right? Are we sure about this? Um, I also wanted to touch on, and I know you have referenced and spoken in even this conversation the significance of embracing your imperfections. We are not perfect beings or perfect individuals, and sometimes things can get messy or not as planned or not go the way we want them. But there's value in still embracing those moments, aren't there?
Oh, thank God for the mess. Thank God for the mistakes. Thank God for all of that. Like
Mm.
how boring it would be, to be perfect. Like I've been such a perfectionist through my life, and it's that control bit. It's controlling to keep ourselves safe. Like let's say, like if one of my earlier speeches, and as a speaker, there are various ways of speaking, and one of them is to script your speech, embed it, and for it to become so part of you that it just becomes conversational and easy. And over time, see, a lot of the stuff I'm saying to you today is it's not the first time I've said it, and
Right.
so it gets easier. Like I've been building on me, and a lot of this language has
Hmm.
been built through some years now of posts online, of conversations with people out in the street, of phone calls, of
Yep.
podcasts, and I've just built and built and built. I've got another speech, I've just been working on today, which I'm giving in a in 2 days' time, and it gets better and better and better. But
Mm.
I can't go straight to the better one without having done all the other ones.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so so does that make the other ones wrong or a failure or any? No, like I've been speaking at Rotary clubs here in Australia, and each one, it's a new speech, it's a new growth, and there have been times when I've scripted it and I've got stuck and I've lost my place, and I stand there like a dummy thinking, oh my God. Then I beat myself up and thinking, Bobby, like you're bloody hopeless at this. So what makes you think you can ever be a speaker? Like this.
Right.
So beat yourself up.
That's self-talk.
But I've come to realize that the message is the mess.
Mm.
That making that mess is part and parcel of showing up as a human in the arena, falling down, getting back up, feet in the fire, at the edge, doing the hard stuff. And that's what makes the difference. And and like it's a lesson. Every time, new lesson, new growth.
Yeah.
And then I change my speech. It gets better. And then one of these days, very, very soon, I'm going to say, nailed it, Bobbi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well,
Proud of that.
that very much ties into, again, I talk about the bold framework and better than yesterday, so constant improvement, and I think
Yeah.
that's exactly what it. I should mention that I told you the BOL, the D is disrupt the norm, and that's just be a trailblazer and do your own thing. You think of people who make famous inventions like the Wright brothers. I'm sure people thought flying a plane would be crazy, and now that is the norm, and so disrupting that is so important. And so yeah, I just thought I'd wrap that up. Bobbi, this has been a beautiful conversation, man. I've so appreciated the insights that you've shared. I absolutely love your personal journey in terms of the decisions that you've had to make for yourself, and you made them boldly and confidently. And you stepped into them, and you come out the other side. And certainly, there's no question. We talked about fear, and it's there, and I'm sure there's uncertainty and doubts and suspicions and all sorts of things. But despite all of that, still proceeding forward is just a simply wonderful thing. So thank you for all of that. For our listeners that wanted to connect with you directly or learn more about your work, where can we send them?
Well, my name is Bobbi Barrington, Bobbi, not any other spelling. That's the one. Bobbi Barrington. So I have a website at www.bobbibarrington.com. You can find me on socials. I tend to use LinkedIn and Facebook. I think you can find me under Bobbi Barrington on Facebook. It's Bobbygirl1. I don't know why it is that. Everything else is Bobbi Barrington except Facebook. But you can find me on Instagram and TikTok, although I don't really hang out in those places so much. And also a little bit of YouTube. But all of these things are growths, and they are not none of it is the final version. All of it is messy. All of it, like this entrepreneurship, it's mess everywhere. And being okay with the mess is like a massive part of like just navigating my way through life.
Yeah.
With oh my God, emails here, things unattended to, things not opened. Oh, and like the recovering perfectionist of me doesn't like that.
Gotcha.
Doesn't like the discomfort of the things that are untidy. And letting go of the need for it to be tidy and organized has been such a big
Oh no,
still
beautiful.
working on that.
Like I said, it's a beautiful journey. And I, again, love the fact that you acknowledge that it's not perfect, and it's but again, embracing those imperfections is its value
Yeah.
in that.
But it also helps give other people permission to, start where you are.
That's right.
Start where you are with what you've got.
That's right. That's right. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Bobbi, thank you for this. This has been great. I appreciate the time together, and all the best on your continued journey.
Thank you, Audley. It's been a delight.
Back, we are here on the podcast, and much thanks and appreciation to Bobbi for being here. In our conversation, we touched on the challenges and rewards of gender transition, the vital importance of emotional vulnerability, and the necessity of questioning the narratives that society imposes on us. One of the key takeaways is that personal power comes not from perfection, but from the willingness to embrace our imperfections and the messiness of our lives. I particularly loved Bobbi's insights on how these experiences shape our growth and our capacity to support others on their journeys. I encourage you to connect with Bobbi directly. You can find her at her website at bobbibarrington.com and follow her on social media, where she shares her journey as well as insights. Be sure to check out her upcoming events and special offerings designed to help you break free from the boxes we often find ourselves in. I want to take this opportunity and thank you for tuning into this episode of the Audacious Living Podcast. I hope you found inspiration and encouragement in our conversation with Bobbi. If you've enjoyed the episode, please take a moment to like, follow, subscribe, and share this podcast with family and friends if you haven't already done so, or even someone that you think might benefit from our conversations. Your support helps us connect to grow and reach even more individuals seeking to live audaciously. Remember, life is an adventure filled with opportunities for growth. Embrace the messiness, question the norms, and step boldly into your truth. Until next time, stay safe, be kind, show love to one another, and be audacious.